All right, so what we got here is a recent pickup that I got from a comic book sale in a not so local comic shop, London, Ontario. Heroes Comics had 3 comics for $1 sale. So I cleaned up. I got a couple of doubles and just a couple of throwaways. None of them's all that great. For example, this one here is missing the back cover. Front cover's threatening to come loose any second too. Reprint of early Fantastic Four, number 16, I think, Gideon. And Giant Size Avengers 5. There's a couple of good scenes in here from Don Heck. It's got some writing in it. It's, of course, not great, but it's all about reading and enjoying. Growing up, I was never a huge fan of Don Heck, but, when you get older, you recognize the amount of action and stuff, the dynamic artwork that they were able to do. So even though he wasn't a favorite as a kid, you can enjoy it later. Look at that, John Buscema. Isn't that great? Don't make them like they used to. So that's those two. Marvel Comics Presents. Just because I got number 1, I figured I'd get number 2. Again, there's some John Buscema artwork in there. This is a precursor to Wolverine getting his own title. Tales of the Legion. This is just to get a couple of check marks off of my list, just to fill gaps. This one as well. Sorry about the glare. Here, this is something interesting. Shadow Walker Chronicles is a reprint of Shadow Walker. This was an independent comic from Air Cell, drawn by Tom Grummett before he became pro. Managed to get a couple of copies of these issues without even knowing that they existed. I managed to find one. I recognized the artwork flipping through dollar bins at one time. So sure enough, 3 for $1. So this issue is Shadow Walker number 1. For whatever reason, they reprinted it. Again, it's the same book. Better paper, better cover, I guess. Good stuff. Tom Grummett fans, those exist. This was included with Wizard magazine. It's a run up to, I think, an Ultron storyline in the early 2000s with George Perez. Yeah, see, there's Ultron there. Good story. This one I picked up simply because of the Alan Davis cover. Early 90s stuff. I guess this book isn't quite a comic. It just kind of recaptures or reviews some of the storylines building up to some other storyline. There's some Kirby reprint, early Inhumans. I'm talking about the comics and the action figures, the cartoons and the action figures from the 90s. Good stuff. Good old Marvel Age with some early Spider-Ham. Gotta love that stuff. Marvel Age I collected. I didn't get every issue as it came out, but you still end up with a stack of them no matter what. Here's another. Early 90s goodness. They're not all winners, but some of them are good. Here, I'll show you this one. Sorry. So, Secret Origins. This is the final issue. It's a cover by Ty Templeton. The draw for me, specifically, was the George Perez artwork. Told almost like a novelization. It's not panel artwork. Telling the story of Dick Grayson's origin, I guess. Gotta love that picture right there. And then, of course, artwork in the Flash origin by Mike Parabik. Pencils. Passed away before he really gained the notoriety that he deserved. He was artist on the early issues of Batman Adventures, based on the Batman the Animated Series. Passed away from complications of diabetes, I believe. So these were in there as well, 3 for $1. Marvel Premiere, I couldn't leave these ones alone. Nice Gil Kane cover. Some writing in there, of course. Early Iron Fist, and this, I couldn't believe either. The first John Byrne on Iron Fist. Marvel Premiere 25. The story continues into Iron Fist number 1. John Byrne did the artwork for all 15. What is going on? Writing in the comic. John Byrne did the art in all 15 issues of the regular ongoing Iron Fist, and then switched over to do Power Man and Iron Fist when that became a duo book. Some early Marvel Tales. John Romita. Reprints of Spider-Man, of course. This is an interesting thing. French. I guess in Quebec they have reprint comics. They translate them, of course. Problem being is that it's in black and white, which I don't really mind. I like that. You get to see the artwork a little bit more clear. But what they do is they bind them into gigantic, well, trade paperbacks, I guess we call them. But they take the actual comic and they just glue them in. And so some genius figures, okay, well, I'll just rip them all out of the glued binding and sell them as individual issues. And of course, they put the holes in them to try to put them in a binder, but and staples, of course, to try to keep it back together after they've ripped it all apart. Either way, there's the comic. Kind of strange. I like it. And these, again, are doubles, but for 3 for $1, you can't go wrong. Mega Man #1, #4. Now, first appearance of Lobo was #3, I believe. He doesn't show up in 4, but he does show up in 5. So I guess technically this would be Lobo's second appearance. There he is right there. Kind of goofy looking compared to how he ended up, but gotta start somewhere. This issue here as well I got for the Alan Davis cover. Isn't that amazing? You guys good? These I like to pick up whenever I find them too. They were free giveaways back in the 80s. Just promoting all the different titles from DC at the time. Each 2-page spread discusses or talks about books that they're promoting back in the day. Gotta love Jim Aparo. He's great. Batman and the Outsiders. There's a 2-page spread from George Perez for the Titans title that was going on at the time. There's a Mega Man, of course. Vigilante. There it is. George Perez. And another sampler here. This one's not as exciting. It's just a few of the pages previewing Emerald Dawn 2 by Mark Bright. Back in the day. There's some Tom Grummett. These I picked up just because I don't have them. And I recognize Steve Lytle's artwork. That guy's underrated. He did Legion of Superheroes back in the day, and then he just kind of, like I said, didn't get the amount of work that he should have. He did titles, or covers for the title Classic X-Men. Let's see if I got everything. I also picked up a bunch of these Alpha Flights at 3 for $1. Just because you can't go wrong. Like I said, they got the crap beaten from them, but if you ever want to learn how to draw like John Byrne, all you gotta do is look at his stuff, right? Great storytelling, great characters, underrated. Alpha Flight is. And yeah, so 3 for $1. I think I spent about 12, 13 bucks, something like that. Just another stack to add to the pile. That's it for today. Thanks, guys.